Today I'm gonna break down 4 easy steps on how I bought a house at 22 years old. So I'm currently 24 years old, but I want to take you guys through the journey that I went through to get my home. Step 1, when it came to buying a house, deciding I wanted to buy a house. And I know that kind of sounds like a no-brainer, but before I decided to buy a house, my thinking was, I'm 22 years old, I'm gonna wait to buy a house once I start my career or once I'm in my 30s. That's not something people do at this age. But once I decided I wanted to buy a house, that's when the journey actually began. And the decision to buy a house actually originated with my dad planting the seed in my mind of hey, why are you wasting your money with rent? I never really thought of it like that, wasting money. But it's true, guys. If you're renting a place, yeah, you have a roof over your head, but you're essentially throwing that money away and you will never see it again. So step 1 was deciding to buy a house. Step 2 is going to be getting in contact, connecting either with an agent or a lender and figuring out how much you qualify for. In order for them to determine that, you need to send them a few documents. They're going to want to see your W-2 for the last couple years, bank statements showing proof of employment, showing that you're making money. They want to see that the money's been there, that it's legitimate, that you earned it all. They might run a soft credit score, so that's your FICO, your credit score. There's a few other things, your debt to income ratio. So all of these are going to play a factor into how much home you can afford. Take in mind, I was making about $14 an hour at the time. I had no debt, no student loan, no car payment, no credit card debt. By myself, I qualified for less than $100,000. My agent gave me the idea of, hey, what about getting a co-borrower so that together you guys could qualify for more. And my whole plan was hey, I want to buy this house, without the help of my parents though. But I did have a girlfriend, and she was grateful enough to be a co-borrower. So same thing, they had to see all her W-2s, bank statements, her debt to income ratio. And then together we qualified for a $210,000 house. So it's not a lot, but this is in 2020, in the heat of the pandemic. And so that was step 2, seeing how much we qualify for. And then step 3, I would say probably the hardest part, and it's just saving the money. So figuring out how much I have to save. So being a first-time home buyer, I only had to put 3.5% using an FHA loan. There are other options, but that is what I went with. So 3.5% on a $210,000, I needed roughly around $8,000 to $9,000. And at the time I had a few $1,000s saved up. So that was the mission, just working as much as possible to be able to save that down payment. I gave up subscriptions to the gym, Netflix. I stopped eating out for a few months. I had moved in with my grandparents with the intention of eventually I'm gonna move out, but more than that is gonna be making more money. So making $14 an hour as a nurse assistant wasn't very much, but I worked as much as the company let me and as much as my body allowed. So I remember I did 14-hour shifts. That became normal. I did a few 19-hour shifts. I worked at times, I think the most was 12 days in a row. I worked about average, other than that long stretch, about 5 to 6 days of 12-hour shifts weekly for a few months. I wasn't in school, so my whole aim was, all right, let's work, make some legitimate money, save it, keep it in the bank, have proof that we earned this money, and put it away in order to acquire the property. So that brings me to step 4. Once I had the roughly $8,000 in my account, I got back in contact with the lender, and with my girlfriend, we put together a little story, why we want to buy your house. Hey, we're trying to start a family. We love the house, we love the location. You know, we try to put that personal touch, you know, try to pull on the heartstrings of the seller to try to get them to pick us. It was kind of a waiting game. We're putting offers. We did about 6 walkthroughs of homes and put an offer on each one, and we got denied, we got rejected, until that like 6th one we finally got our offer accepted. I remember it was a great day. And so from the day of getting the keys to the house and deciding I want to buy a house, it was about roughly 6 months. So it roughly took me 6 months to buy a house at 22 years old, making roughly 14 bucks an hour. So I just want to like share this story, and hopefully it inspires people to acquire property and to really you know, push the limit. You know, buying a home is something I thought, oh, that's what you do when you're 30 once you start your career, but it's not. You know, those are just excuses. Anybody could do this. You just really got to want it. So I'm glad I could be able to help you guys. So please like, subscribe, and share this video with people that you think would enjoy this content.